How are you?
I'm good.
So, looking forward to this.
I'm a bit nervous about the technology, but I'm all right with what I'm
This is
showing.
all on the
Who's
screen.
that there? Oh,
It's,
Trish and
Hello,
Dave.
hello,
Trisha.
Jen.
Hello.
Hello,
Oh,
Trish.
we all right?
Hi,
Hello,
Trish.
Jill. Hello.
Hey Jill.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Hey Gina. Hey Jill.
Hello,
It's
Dave.
Brighton.
I thought that was Sarah Brighton. Where's Sarah Brighton?
Yeah, with a pink scarf on.
I can't see you now.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see you now.
can you?
Hello.
Hello, Gina.
Who's that? Peter Patterson. Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Oh,
Hello, wherever you are.
Peter. Oh,
Hello, Peter.
David.
Hello.
Oh,
Oh,
It's
David.
Trish and Dave.
Oh, lovely. Nice to see you.
Nice to see
Can
you.
you see us? I don't know. I can't see.
hi Trish. Hi Dave.
Hello,
Hi
Jill.
Hi,
Hello,
Jill.
Tina. Hello, Tony.
Gina, whose party is this?
Is everyone here? Hello.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Hello.
Good
Shall,
evening.
shall we begin, Gina?
Okay.
Okay, brilliant.
As a bit
Welcome
of
to Grow at
feedback,
Home,
can I
the
just
Art
say
of Talk
that-
series. It's a new series where we'll be hearing from artists and authors about their work and practice. And Grow at Home was made possible by the wonderful Arts Council England Cultural Recovery Fund. Just to let you know that we'll be live streaming tonight, and sometimes I'm recording it well, and sometimes we use screen grabs for our publicity. So just be aware of that. If you don't want to be seen, then you'll have to switch your cameras off, stuff like that. There's going to be a Q&A at the end of this presentation, and I'll take your questions in the chat. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Gina Southgate. For the people who don't know Gina, Gina is a painter, and she's made a name for herself over the last 30 years as an artist who paints live, mostly at jazz and improv gigs. And she composes her pictures in real time or as a collaboration with musicians in responsive, interactive abstraction. She was originally trained as a silversmith, and she's an educator who has taught from community groups to degree level, and has a long-standing artistic partnership with the NHS, which is brilliant. She also, though, paints landscapes, seascapes, and cityscapes, so we're going to see some of those tonight. And she loves a good pun, because when she sent me a blurb, it says her talk will brush on all of these aspects of her work. So, brilliant, Gina. Take it away, please.
Thank you. So please bear with me because my use of technology is not great, and so I'm going to start off. I didn't know how many people were going to come or who the people were going to be, so I know that people are aware of my gig paintings, and I thought less people are probably aware of my landscapes, so that I'd start with those. And because it's a Grow are based at the River Lee on the canal, I thought I would start off with my canal paintings. So here we go. I'm just going to show a selection of canal paintings. This is one, but I've gone into a screen that I don't understand already. So, can you all see a painting?
Yep.
Yes.
But I don't know how to get to the next one. So where's David?
I'm here.
David, I've gone on to. It's just gone on to my.
You can close that window, and escape is in the previous one. If you close that window, press escape.
Yeah.
Or there, yeah.
There.
And
So
then
I
if you stay
don't.
there-
I don't click on that one. I just go down this list,
Yeah.
don't I? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So these are all painted. As you can see, they're painted in by the River Lee, and they're mostly painted at dusk. That's my favourite time to paint. This one, so I lug everything to the river, and I stand in situ and paint in quite a short period of time. So my gig paintings came before my landscapes. So my landscapes, I try to work with the same sort of discipline as I would work in a gig. So I'm working with speed and energy, and I'm looking at energy in the landscape. I'm not trying to paint a representation, and I actually get very irritated when the work becomes representational. I want to keep it loose and fresh and lively. Can you hear me all right, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
So they've all got different titles. You may be able to see that. Oh no, I think that they've been covered up now. But they're just called things like Blue Boat, Brown and Beige Boat, etc. They're not very exciting, the titles on these. They're kind of just representational of what they are. So they're this one, for example, would be probably about 40 inches by 20 inches. It's painted on board. The first ones I showed you were on canvas. These are new. This was a commission before Christmas. A woman loved my boat paintings, but actually they sell really quickly, so I didn't have any. So I went and did a couple of paintings, and she chose this one, the bluer one, well, with the brown trees. These are quite old. These range, I probably started painting at the River Lee in about 2005. And this one, and my niece has got this one. This is one of the earliest. It's probably the first one. And I started painting at the river in January. It was freezing, and I had an exhibition at Freud's, which is in Soho, and it had lovely big walls, and I needed some work, big work, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go and do some landscapes. And so I did some landscapes of the River Lee for my exhibition. It sort of started a long love of landscape painting. These are all quite big, so I take quite. This one is 44 inches by 32. So to get all that out of the car, you can't drive to these places. So to get it all out of the car with an easel and paints and so on, it's a kind of big effort to lug the gear. That's a lovely one, Snow on Tottenham Marshes. That was painted in the snow about this time of year as well. Not the same year, I don't think. So that's my boats over a series of years. And then this is looking the other way. So that's from the top of Spring down over Walthamstow, and so it reminds me of Sodor, that one, the Thomas the Tank Engine's island, where it's got everything going on. It's got boats, trains. There's no helicopter, but there would be now if I painted it. Pylons. And actually it's interesting looking at these paintings because the vista has changed. There's new buildings on the horizon in all of these vista paintings. It wouldn't be the same view now. There's great big buildings over here that I need to get back and paint again. So this shows a bit more of the industry in the background. There are some industrial buildings in the background. I love the curve of the bend of the Lee there, and I love all the grasses. Big skies, massive skies. So these are quite big. These are like, again, these are painted on board. So I work on mount board and whole sheets of mount board. So they're 44 inches by 32 inches. Yeah, and that one. So they're all a similar sort of time, apart from this one, which was it's gone. Oh, now I've clicked on it. We're going to have to get out of that. Couple of years ago. So I'm going to try to open a new file now. I'm going to go into Norfolk Paintings, and I'm going to start off with this year's paintings. Now, I haven't had time to process these photographs, so they're not cropped, but this is the work I did in Norfolk this year. All of the same view. I love to paint that field, and you'll see over the years how many times I've painted it. So it's like muscle memory. I don't even need to really look at the field. I know what it looks like, but I like to look, and the sky changes all the time. The light, again, all of these are painted at dusk. You could say it's to get me out of cooking dinner when I'm camping, but it's the best time. The light is it's the best time for the light. Everything becomes really defined in the. Now I've got to go out of that. Close. Go out of that. Everything becomes really, really defined and really clear. Shapes become really clear in the dusk, and it's great because it makes me rush. So I can't hang about, and I can't because I know it's going to get dark, so it's going to change really quickly. It gets to like that's almost dark there, I can see, and some of these are darker than others. But the light goes, and then sometimes I work with a head torch, but I don't look at the painting. I just look at the materials, because I can't see the materials when it's dark. So this one was painted. Oh God, here we go. Let's close it. That's it. That one was painted completely in the dark. That's one of my favourite. This is where the looseness that I really, really crave. But actually, it's probably gone a bit too far for some people. So I haven't sold that one, and this one. But I love the looseness of those two. But I've only really shown them once. A lot of my work only gets shown once in one exhibition, and then goes back to the studio where I usually sell it on later. That's a very small one. I don't know how that crept in, just because these are all of Norfolk, all of the same field, year in, year out, for about 16 years. I've been going to the same place every summer. That's a completely dark one. 16 minutes in, so I better not hang about with all this for too long. I'll just go through. If you want to butt in and say anything, please do. Oh, you might be muted. That's a completely dark one. That's a lovely one. That's a lovely one. So most of these now, over the years, are sold. So for those of you that don't know me, if there's anyone there that doesn't know me, I live by my work. I sell my paintings. I've always been an artist. I've did an art degree in 79 to 82, and it was in silversmithing and metalwork. So this is my very first landscape in Norfolk, and I would love to be able to paint like that again. I never could. There's collage in there. I didn't know what I was doing, but I really like the way that looks. And then Alan, my partner, while it was wet, trod on it, and that's a print of a Birkenstock just in the sky there. But that's one of my favourite Norfolk pictures. That's a nighttime one, all the caravans down the side of the field. Showtime. Some people that are in the audience here might own these. That's quite a representational one. That's a very early one. I like that. I love that. This one, see, the cars went a bit too literal there, but you know, I'm only the conduit. I'm not in charge really of what happens. I try to be. That's a really early Norfolk one as well. That's the same year as the first one. I love that one. Kinner owns that one. Still got that. Tinseltown. And that's from a different view. That's up the top of the dunes looking down over the field. Jill's got one like that, but not that one. And
I should show you it.
Pardon?
Shall I go and show you it?
No, I don't. Oh, you could, if they can see. But it's all right. I don't know if it's here. These ones are quite literal, but quite nice. Okay, so that's all my Norfolk landscapes, and I'm gonna go back into am I in the right place? Yeah, there's some from Camber Sands. No, I've gone to the whole screen. Let's go back. Bradwell Power Station, Broadstairs from the West Cliff, Broadstairs same night, Broadstairs same night. Derek Jarman's Garden, Dungeness, Romney Marshes, the Pear Orchard, Cliftonville, Rye Harbour, and back to and a couple of London ones I think I've got here. Alexander Palace from the top of Wood Green Shopping City. So I'm in the car park, the fourth story of the multi-storey car park, painting Alexander Palace, part of a commission. This was the one that they chose, going the other way, looking from Alexander Palace to the city and Wood Green. Clissold Park, that's from Hainault Forest, looking at Canary Wharf, and Romford over here. And then over there somewhere is the city. That's in the snow, Highgate in the snow. That's Parliament Hill, so Parliament Hill Fields. And then, so we're getting to, there's a few, I'm not sure what these are about. That was a commission. That's in Abney Park Cemetery. Saved by the Blossom, horrible picture. But, better not say that. Person might be there, who has it. This is in Kingsdown, looking at the golf course. Kingsdown. I paint all the landscapes when I go camping. I've got a big trailer tent, and I've spent 2 years of my life in it, and I camp. When I camp, I paint. So this is in Dartmoor. That's in Wales. That was your 50th birthday, Jill. This is on the Isle of Jura. That was abroad. That was in Scapello in Sicily. Me on. So that was. This is a method that I use, but not so much. When I drive and paint, is to use but the car does get a bit trashed, but to use the car bonnet as the easel in the landscape. If you're in a really remote place like this, it's perfect. But that was in Scotland. This is Exmoor. This is Jura. I fell in love with Jura so much. The colours, the light, everything about it was absolutely beautiful. I went once to a wedding, and then I had to go back the next year and rented a house for a week's holiday and painted every day. This is Thornham in Norfolk. So that's kind of done my landscapes. That's something that I would do more. I would paint landscapes more. What's happened over the last few years is I'll put a picture up, an abstract. So I've always got studio practice. This was painted in the studio. This is 5 foot by 4 foot. It's acrylic on canvas, and they were a pair. I've always got that stuff on the go, like the ones behind me. These are current ones that I'm working on in my studio. I'm not in my studio because I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm actually in my bedroom, and I brought these paintings to the bedroom so that we didn't look like I'm in my bedroom. But I've got a studio practice that goes on all the time where I'm working on things like this, and these are quite big paintings. But what's happened the last few years is that all the gig stuff that I do has really taken off in like my professional life. I go here, there and everywhere, painting at festivals and gigs, and I don't have a lot of time. I haven't for a few years had a lot of time to work on things like this or to work on landscapes. So that's why my holidays are always about the landscapes, and my abstract stuff is where I work out my ideas, my techniques, my paint techniques. I overwork. So something like this will have been started at a gig somewhere, and I'm going to come on to that in a minute. And these ones were commissioned for Vivian Cohen House, which is East London's psychotherapy clinic, and I exhibited there for a while, and then they commissioned, out of their decoration budget, they commissioned a couple of big paintings that are permanently there. I'll go back to those. I think they're quite nice. They're big. They're like 5 foot by 4 foot, I think, and they hang there permanently, which is nice. This is going back to older. This is much older work, and I used to use collage a lot because I didn't really have the confidence to get texture in my paintings just with the use of paint. So there's certainly painted areas like this, but this big circle is cut out of a big sheet of printed paper that then is glued on. So all of that was very definitely a studio process, and I worked like that for a long time. So you can see this has no collage, but from a long time of trying to break up surfaces in paint, you get a similar feel just from using paint, whereas here I've made that texture happen with collage, layering up of collage. So here it gets looser in something like this. These are big, these are on board. This one's tiny, really weeny. This is kind of mid-size. That's using collage and paint. And something like that, I stuck the collage down probably in about 2005, and then I finished it about maybe 2 years ago and hang it in an exhibition, and is sold and gone now. So something like that is all collage. So I might come back to that in later times and rework it. That's a combination of paint and collage. This was a triptych. That was a commission for Ryan's Bar. This was a big canvas. Oh, go back. This is a big canvas. Worked on in live performance and then kind of tamed. I kind of tame them in my studio. That one is I think 6 foot by 4 foot, maybe, sold. These are all sold over the years. So, and this is Jill's triptych. She's sitting in front of it. She's sitting in front of the third one. These were a big departure at the time. They were hung in an exhibition in the Tavistock, and Jill came along and saw the vision and bought all 3 of them and has got them on 3 walls in her flat, and I love them. They've got fruit feelings, but they've got animal feelings. So they've got little eyes, like this one could be a creature, and that's the least creature-like one. But I feel like there's just something quite figurative about them, dog-like about them, or animal-like about them. So these are just pure abstracts. This one was called, often with my abstracts, I title things after. And this one was called The Sliced Hard-Boiled Egg Hid, because it never was an intention, but it looks like sliced hard-boiled eggs, and then I've stuck collage paper over the top. and there's an orange, but then it's also a bit of female genitalia in there. They're always a bit sexual. My abstracts have a certain sexuality about them. That one's called Effervesce. This is a very recent one, and this is huge, and it was in my recent exhibition at Vutorini's at the Stash Gallery, which is a private members club in the city, and I was in a group show called Dance of the Stillness, and I had to come up with some big abstracts, and there's a pair. The other one is not in this. Oh yes, it's next. And this was painted over the Scottish National Jazz Orchestra that I painted at the Sage in about 2011. And in here you can see little individual musicians. I left them there, and they're kind of, I think of them as sort of floating out. These holes represent, I don't know what they represent, but it started to look like these bubbles were coming out of gas holes in the ground. And so I called it the Gas Orchestra. And this one was the pair, this was the pair with the other one that went to that exhibition, but this was started in a concert performance with me and a bass clarinet player, Cara Doyle. We did a duo performance, and this was started there, and then I manipulated it after, and I've got a little film of a bit of that I'll show in a minute. But I'm going to run out of time, actually, if I keep talking. Triptych. These were done in COVID. That was started in a live performance with my good friend and colleague, collaborator, John Russell, who sadly died a couple of weeks ago. And I started that in a performance with him at an exhibition opening, and then I went back to it during COVID and finished it. And this one was another live gig piece that I worked over. That was just a small monoprint. These are all, I'll just move through these are all collages, and then I could go on forever. These are abstracts that have been made. So that was made with Leafcutter John and Dave Moorcroft in a performance at the Vortex. Those that know me know that I've had a long relationship with the Vortex. That was made in the Library Gallery in Stoke Newington. This is a triptych that I made in a live performance with John Russell. Lisa has that now. It looks beautiful in her house. This is a live thing with John Russell. I've done so much work with John Russell over the years, and it hasn't, because I haven't seen him for a long time, it hasn't dawned on me that he's not going to be there. So and another John Russell triptych. Whoops, close. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to stop those. So those are all, these are abstracts that are made in a live gig situation. So something like that is huge. It's 3 panels. It's like 100 inches, which is about short of 3 meters by just over a meter, and that will be worked on for probably about 15 to 20 minutes in a live situation. Something like that, I've left that, I've never touched it since, but some of these things I get to work on over. So I'm going to talk about my performance a bit. So my performances, I paint in performance, but I also do things that are kind of, I don't know, comedic. I use props, I build real-time sculpture. So I'm going to try and get this film going. Can you see the film?
Yes.
So this is me making a painting with Cara, who's a Guildhall student that I've done. This was our first gig, and we were put together by her aunt, who is a bass player. And I just want you to see kind of what's happening there, how we're responding to each other. So that was in front of an audience, and that's what started one of those abstract paintings that were in Vutorinis. And I just want to show you this because it is hilarious if you can hear. So this is me in full blown. Because I have to. This is where I go. Up there. Like that. Like that. I've got way better. I was going to play something up here, but I had two of them. I've only got one. I can't ask her to get me one because she won't understand me. The pole.
What is pole?
Another pole.
What is pole?
A pole. That's the pole.
Pole.
That's the pole.
What's pole?
Pole. This is a pole. Pole. This, Marta, this is a pole.
This is a pole.
Yes. Can I have another pole? Another pole.
It's a person. Pole.
Two poles. Two poles.
Paul Mass.
Two Okay, no poles, no more poles. One pole. Okay. I'm coming down. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I think that's it. So I think that they illustrate. Is everyone still there? Yeah, I think they're still there. I think they illustrate performance, the kind of performances that I do. So this is the setup before the destruction. This is painting performance, and there's the. Oh, and this was the recent one at the Vortex with Cara. We actually got a paid gig and at Blow the Fuse, which is a really great honour because Blow the Fuse is an established jazz night run by Deirdre Cartwright and Alison Rayner, who are stalwarts of the jazz scene, and we got a great gig and people loved it. So this is at the Arch in Bromley by Bow, and I did a performance with Ilya Darto. So I don't know. I take a kit. I don't know what's going to happen. That's me up a ladder with Thurston Moore and Maggie Nichols. You know, they're both amazing improvisers, and I get to do this stuff with them, which is really brilliant. Me and Cara and Hannah, who's another Guildhall student, and what's really great is these young people are just so not fazed by it, and they're so up for it, and really it's really exciting to be able to do that. That's something after a gig. So I'm going to go out of that now, and so what that leads me from abstract painting to performance to my gig work, which I'm not going to hang about on, but I'm just going to show a few paintings. What paintings am I going to show? I'm going to go into new folder. I'm just going to quickly go through this because these are my live gig paintings, and these are mostly soloists, I think, or a few soloists. I've been doing this for years and years. I've got thousands of paintings, thousands. Well, I haven't got them, but other people have got them. I've got quite a lot of them, but I've sold a lot. I mean, and if I haven't sold them, I would imagine hopefully that I will do one day, if I just keep doing it. So if I'm not necessarily going to talk about any of these, I'm just going to, oh yeah, I want to, I'm just flicking through quickly. These were the images from the catalogue of my last exhibition at Stapleford Granary in Cambridge. I've been resident artist on the Cambridge Jazz Festival 2 years running, and I had a big exhibition at Stapleford Granary. I was resident this year in a different setup where everything was live streamed, but I was in the room with the bands. So 2 years running I've been at Cambridge, which has been great. I do residencies all over the country. I've been to places in Europe. I've been to the States, and I do festivals and I do individual gigs. I want to show you. So this is my work turned into CD covers. First one was Sylvia Hallett, but that was pre-digital. And I've got loads and loads of work that's pre-digital. I mean, honestly, I've been wading through files and files and files all week. That's Lewis, and then it turned into that. Yeah. All week I've been wading through files, but that's without all my pre-digital stuff. I've been working in 2 dimensions for 30 years. So these are coming out, and this is what they look like when they're painted. I just want to show you, this is a little story. So when my dad died, we cleared out his garage, and he had these huge canvases that he'd started to draw these Grecian columns on. And I took these massive old canvases. He'd painted a corner. My dad painted, and he was a really good painter, but he painted a corner of these massive canvases, and then he'd obviously got fed up. So I took these huge old canvases and worked on them in a gig with the People Band, and maybe more than one gig. Looks like more than one gig. And then they were turned into the People Band CD cover. So they go from being these huge canvases, there they are in the Sage in Gateshead, and so I worked with the People Band to suggest what I thought would work well, and where they should put the CD and so on, and then it ends up as this tiny little thing from these giant paintings, and I really like that. I also really like doing this one. This was for Laura Cole and the two Fridas. So Frida Kahlo's portrait of the two Fridas. That's my portrait of the two Fridas. I just got that image and worked from it, and I gave her 4 options, and these are big paintings, and then she chose that one, and that became the cover of the CD, and the heart was the CD inside. And that's the back was done by another artist, and my work was on the front. So that was a very nice little project. I don't know how much longer I've got. I just want to show you. So residences, all tomorrow's parties, Stuart Lee, I'm going to show you Stuart Lee now, curated all tomorrow's parties, and I got to be resident artist at that. The picture I wanted to show you actually is not there. It was of the raincoats with their painting. It's not in that group of images. I don't know. I don't want to go off too much. I'm just looking for certain things, and I have got some. Where's Stuart Lee? Here. So this was interesting because I usually paint musicians, but Stuart Lee is a brilliant comedian. He's our friend, and I painted him at some charity thing, and he said, "Why don't you come to Leicester Square Theatre? You can paint whatever, whenever you like." So I did this whole series, and it was a real luxury because he does a run, but every night his thing is different, and I got to go to loads of these comedy gigs and see this brilliant person. But it was like my kind of first brush with portraiture, because there's no instrument there, but he's still moving around, so it's not like someone's standing still for you. They're still moving around, but for me, it was all about the hands and the microphone and this boyish look. So that was a good. It was like life drawing, but not life drawing in the real time. Should I stop for questions? Pete, shall I stop for questions now, or should I show a film, or?
Show a film, show some more pictures. I haven't got any questions in the chat really.
Have you asked for any questions?
Well, I asked at the beginning. Yeah, if you want to put some questions in the chat, that'd be a really good thing. I've got lots of really nice compliments. I've got one from Votek Bowden, who says, "Gina, can you explain gig painting?" But I think you've just kind of done that one.
Who is that?
Votek.
What does Votek want to know about it? Let me show you a setup.
Well, I think you've kind of explained quite a bit of gig painting. It was quite early on when you were showing.
All right. So I know what I wanted to talk about. So I have a lot of good relations with places, and I like to. I've spent a lot of time. That's where I'm going to go first. I'm going to go. Is it there on the outside? What would it be in? It would be in residences. So I thought it would be so simple to put everything together, but actually I realised that there was so much once I did. No, I don't know where it's gone. Projected work, miscellaneous, King's Place, lampshade. So I was going to talk about exhibitions. So I first got invited to go to Newcastle in 2009, and I went to do a 3-day festival called On the Outside, which is an improvised music festival, and I painted all of these paintings in one weekend. You can see they're different. They're older and they're more like drawings than my work now. But this was I didn't curate or eliminate anything from this show. I just showed everything that I'd produced in the weekend at the festival, and this show was part. There's my boy when he was little. This show was part of. Lonnie's in the other room saying that's me. This show was part of the package with doing the festival. We organised a show afterwards, so I stayed up there and I had all my materials delivered to frame all the work. I do all my own framing, and I framed all the work and hung it, and stayed up there and had the exhibition, and it was in the Newcastle Arts Centre, and when it was finished I kind of felt like the work should stay up there because it was made up there, and I didn't feel it was right to bring it back to London. So what I did was I exhibited approached the Sage in Gateshead, and managed to get a show in Gateshead in the Sage, which was a real amazing coup as part of their jazz festival the following year. So it looks like the Guggenheim, but this is my work all around the walls here, and I did a residency there, which in these hallowed auditoriums, I managed to get a residency where I was able to paint in all of these beautiful spaces, and I've since been resident artist on their festival for about 3 times, and I've had long-standing involvement with Newcastle, and I have been back time and time again to do things. I'm going to show this little film. This is funny. Level 1. This is the Ronnie Scott's paintings in the Sage Gateshead. Paolo Angeli there, Tom Arthur, Troika, Ted Daniel, Duology, Mike Walter, Paul Shearsmith, Where They Should Be, Hall 2, and The View, and The Sage. And I just wanted to show that little film because that was how bad filming was then, and how we didn't have phones that could do things. And, you know, there's no real record of how amazing that was. I've got loads of photos, but so I went on to, because of my involvement with Newcastle, a head teacher, a really visionary head teacher, saw my work in the Sage, and she asked me if I would go and paint her orchestra. Now, this was a children's immersive orchestra. Every child in the school has an instrument. It's called In Harmony, and they work closely with the Sage, the Northern Symphonia, and it's a really brilliant project. And she asked me if I'd go up and paint her orchestra. And it was just after my mum had died, and I was in a pretty, horrible place because of that. And I just thought it would be a really uplifting thing to do. So I just said I would go and do it. And these are some of the photos. I worked in the school for a week and painted the kids, and then I had an exhibition. I put that work into an exhibition. I was in they made a documentary about the kids at the BBC, and I was in that film. And I've been backwards and forwards with them a few times, doing stuff within Harmony, and sold prints, raised money for them, and worked with them. It was great for me at the time. It was really an amazing thing to do. So I think where I started with all that was, I'm just going to show some miscellaneous photos that so live gig process for the person that was asking a question. This is my setup. And there's Judy. There's Judy in front of one of the pictures. Hello, Judy and Willie. This is the visionary head teacher that I was talking about. And I could talk about In Harmony loads more. But I'm sort of rushing through now. We're nearly towards the end. But so this is my setup for a live gig painting. I'm not normally by the stage so close. This is because I'm employed to be a resident artist, so they want the audience to see me. If I'm left to my own devices, I'm a bit further back. So this is what happens. This is the band with the painting. This is me painting a requiem in Abney Park Cemetery at night with a classical triptych. Another sort of commission. This is a pub sign. This is miscellaneous now. This is a pub sign that I did for an architect. This is me at Jazz in the Round. Jazz in the Round is a residency that I've been doing it's in its 9th year. I've painted at Jazz in the Round every month for 9 years, and I've got an enormous back catalogue of work from Jazz in the Round. This is some paint. Now let's not go to King's Place. Let's go back to exhibitions, because I feel like I just want to show you Jazz Ahead. So I took all of this work to Germany in a car, and we drove, and then I had to frame a lot of it when I got there because it wouldn't all fit in the car. All of this work I framed overnight. Me and my partner Alan, who is the best person to hang a show with, everyone knows that, we hung all of this for a 3-day trade show, and then we took it all down and brought it all back home. And it was a really interesting proposition to be able to have an exhibition of this scale in Europe, and it's something that I know that I can do, and transporting work, hanging shows. it's really important to me how work looks, and also I'm never going to just hang one painting, leave a gap and hang another painting. I'm going to fill the space. I've got so much work to show that it's really important to me to show it. It's like a document of the scene as much as an exhibition of my work. It's about all of the people. I know the names of every single person in every single painting. And that was at the Rich Mix. This is a group show, and I curated the show with people that have been working in jazz alongside the years that I'd been working in jazz. So this was Treader, which is a record label, and this was from Back in Your Town, which was Ashley Wales and John Coxon used to run a night called Back in Your Town, and these were all the posters from their night. And we were going to have a bigger exhibition with more people. This was Swifty and Paul Bradshaw, and it was that was their history of the sound systems. But we weren't able to have the whole Rich Mix, so we just had to make a smaller show. This was in the Rich Mix. So this shows this. I like this picture because it shows this is Jazz in the Round, and this is my painting of that. But this is my real life painting, not from this photo, but the photo was taken on the night. So it shows that something about what I'm doing, my work in. So this was this is something else, which is the offices of Jazz on 3. So I had one of my earliest big shows. So this is the painting that I painted over to make the gas orchestra. But these paintings actually hanging in a space, and how great they look in spaces, big spaces, which I don't have enough of because I'm not really involved in the art world that much. Oh, I do want to show you something though. So these are my exhibitions at the Tavistock. I've had about 10 exhibitions at the Tavistock NHS, big flagship teaching hospital. They've commissioned works. So this is a permanently there in the Tavistock. This is permanently in the Tavistock. They've used my imagery on their book covers, and let me show. So so this is the old style of collage work in the Tavistock, one of our early exhibitions, probably 2005, and this is them using it for a pamphlet. The psychotherapists, if there are any here, the psychotherapists love my abstract work, and they read a lot into it. They say things like, oh yes, this represents the healthy breast. So this I've lost it now. Well, I'm on Zoom. I've lost everything. Where has it gone? Am I still in Zoom? I am screen sharing. I'm here. I want to be here. But I've lost my files. Oh, sorry, can someone talk me through what to do?
You can just open the files if you go to the icon of the files.
Open my files?
Yeah, and then if you search for AAA, where was it? Documents, yeah.
Yeah, back there, I'm back there, okay. So the one thing I wanted to talk about was another thing I wanted to talk about was the work that I've done through a curator called Vanya Balog. A lot of East London people know Vanya because he does exhibitions in the car park, the underground car parks, both in Covent Garden and in behind Oxford Street, and he gets together loads of artists to do sort of installation type exhibitions. This is a series of photos. It's an installation I made with a small yapping dog, and I put salt on the ground. You get a car space in a car park for your participation in the exhibition. So I took some of my kit that I use in performances, my triple ladders, which I love a ladder, I'm always using a ladder, my tins of Chappie. I used to look after Paul Shearsmith's dog, Horlicks, and he always used to feed him Chappie. And so this was an installation for Horlicks and Paul Shearsmith. And the dog is a little yapping dog that does somersaults. And so it went around all day doing somersaults, making patterns in the salt. And there's Paul with the installation. And I put little challenges for the dog. So the tape measure and the ring. So the dog would jump over these things. And I had various things going on, like a disco light inside my drum and so on and so forth. And it was it was the year of the underdog. It was the Chinese New Year, and it was the year of the dog. So this was Embracing the Underdog, it was called. That was my first exhibition with Vanya. And then the second one was an installation. See, I love a painting, but I also love an installation, and I like a bit of junk, and I do collect a bit of junk, but it's not junk, you know, I love a plumber's pole as well. They bend into space, so that's literally just wedged between the floor and the ceiling, making that beautiful shape. And most of this installation is held together just by itself. It doesn't actually have any glue or string or... it's just all freestanding. The poles are stuck through the ladder, so they're holding the lampshades up. There's also, obviously, it's an art exhibition. I don't really work in those kind of art world type setups, but of course I had to put my my wooden ball roller there as a nice penis, just as an art reference. And I've got various things that I buy at car boot sales when I'm away on my holidays in the summer. Just seeing what else I can just go to. So there's various sculptural things. It's about space. So this is the outline of where the car goes, and my thing just took up every inch of the space, not going any further than the space. And it was, I don't know if you've got time possibly to just have a little look at that statement. Can you see that statement?
Yeah.
You can read that?
Yes.
Tell me when it's long enough, when you've read it.
That's good. We've got quite a few questions, actually, Gina.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll stop now. So although my work is decorative, and although is very often responsive because I'm looking at other people and their work and painting it, I'm always thinking, and although my work doesn't necessarily appear political, I'm thinking politically all the time, and there is a lot. There are things in my abstract work there's possibly more to it than meets the eye. I'm just going to show you my studio. This is my studio, and this is Ornette Coleman, and his eyes follow me around the room all day, every day when I'm working, and he says to me, keep it real, G, just keep it real. And it's very important to do your best. This is my old studio in the same yard, and this is when I had a tiny space, but these are my lampshades that I paint, and this is just an impromptu collaboration with when there used to be an antiques shop next door, and we would make little installations with their antiques and my paintings, and that one was particularly nice, so I thought I'd show you that. Right, I'm going to put a picture up. Should I put a picture up so that we can talk, or just talk?
Yeah,
now?
let's do that. Yeah, or
No,
yeah.
well, I've got pictures behind me, so
Yeah,
should I go?
maybe just you.
Let's see. Is that full screen? I don't know. Anyway,
David will help you
what
out.
can you see now?
Still seeing your screen share.
That's it now.
Yeah, Gina, at the top of the Zoom, you have like you are screen sharing.
Yeah.
So if you click in there, you should be able to stop it.
Stop share. Oh,
Yeah,
look,
perfect.
all those lovely people now.
Can you
Hello.
Now, can you see us?
Yeah.
Hi.
Wow.
That was brilliant, Gina.
Oh,
Brilliant.
thank you.
Really enjoyed
I
that.
could-
Thank you.
I could have gone on for 3 days.
Yeah, I know, but it's brilliant. Really
You were
good.
going to, Gina.
Pardon?
I thought you were going to.
Who's saying that, Pete?
Hi,
Alan.
hi Gina. Hi everyone. If you could
Oh,
all-
Alan Irving.
Yes.
Hello, Alan.
Hi, how you doing, darling?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. Hi, Jill.
Hi.
Hi.
You know,
Hi, Lise. Oh, look, Lisa's in front of the big John Russell triptych.
Where's that?
Hello, Lon. That's my son and my partner. Wow. And hello, Oliver. Hi, Carol and Graham. Hi, Riv. Hi, Judy. Hi, Sam. Hi, Michael. Hi, Sarah Crisp. Viv Smith. Hello. Karen Varnell. Wow, Jill. Wow, have I missed anyone? Phil Reynolds. Michelle
Rosie
Cook.
Jones.
Ellis Southgate Wilkinson, my son.
Rosie Jones. Show us Rosie Jones.
Where's Rosie Jones?
We want to see Rosie Jones.
Oh, she's not here.
Oh,
Come up.
Alon, hello, Alon.
Brilliant.
Peter Patterson, hello, Peter. Hello, Tina and Tony. Hello,
Have we said hello
Roger.
to everyone? That's brilliant.
Okay.
I've got a few questions, so if you want to mute your mics for a minute, everyone, apart from Gina, and I'll read out these questions. If you give me
Julie
one
and Jim,
second.
hello.
Let me see. So Peter Patterson said, "Whereabouts in Norfolk are the landscapes?"
Ah, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, Peter. So I'm not going to.
You can kill me anytime, Gina.
The East Coast.
Okay.
Let's say the East Coast.
Okay, and there's another one here. Let's see. Okay, Jill Tattersall. Who are your artistic influences?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's the old classics. My Picasso. I love Picasso. I love Miro. I love Barbara Hepworth. These are just people that, you know, that I've loved and admired for years. I've been looking at Joan Eardley, a Scottish painter. I got really enamoured by Walter Sickert when I saw his exhibition. I mean, I love your pop artists because of everything they afforded us to do when we had no skills. They were like, the pop artists were just saying to me, you don't need skill. I don't know where you've gone to now, so I don't know who I'm talking to, but the pop artists just really kind of at Southend College gave us the thing of like, you don't need any skill to do this. You just make flat, non-textured, cut-out type work that, you know. So yeah, low. I mean, I love a bit of mid-century textiles, as you do yourself. You know, all those kind of things that are my influences. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, we've got one from Adam Graff, and it's with the abstracts. What is the starting point, and what are the images abstracted from?
Whoa, that's interesting because they're not really abstracted. They're more developed from a starting point of could be something already. That usually there's something already on the canvas. So I'm often painting over either a kind of performance thing where it's become very, very, very gestural, and then what I see when I'm painting over those gestural things that already exist, is I'm trying to keep the energy and just tame it. And so I'm trying to contain spaces. And what I do now is I sort of, if I'm going to paint the surface black with gesso, I might just leave little areas that are bits that I like. So I pick out bits of the gestural painting and leave it there, and then just repaint the surface flat around it and start from that. But if I start from just a white canvas, I'll probably just do some squirting of a liquid gloss paint, or do some drawing with a nozzle paint, or just do some drawing straight out of the tube, and then I might brush it in with a watery brush to to spread it around. It becomes really contrived when you start to put shapes in, and although I feel that they're necessary, I think that often that's why the shapes have become simpler and simpler. Like in Jill's big forms, at that time that I was working on those, I was just like, I started with the form, which were like potato type forms, and then I would grow the form and the background paint simultaneously, so that the edges kept moving. They kept moving in and out until they became a shape. When I was a metal worker, a lot of my shapes were very sort of 50s kidney shapes, and those kind of forms I really like, but I do try to avoid those things being contrived now. I try to let them happen somehow organically with the paint process. I don't know if that's answered the question.
Well, it did for me, yeah. So Oliver Weibling says, has your artistic vision been affected by the pandemic and lockdown with no gigs?
Yeah, that has been an issue. I've been fortunate. I have had gigs because I still did the Cambridge Jazz Festival, which was, I was going to and from Cambridge and staying overnight and working with live musicians in a room and sound engineers and so on. It was really weird because there's no audience. So the same at Jazz in the Round, I've done that a couple of times, no audience, but the musicians are there. I mean, it feels amazing to be in the room with live music still, but it's a completely different experience. So I've been fortunate in that. I've also done some live stream painting, and Tina's actually got that lovely painting of Tory Freestone that I did. That was a Vortex. That was a Vortex live stream, and it was in the summer nights, and I painted out the back to my flat where I've got Wi-Fi still, because I don't have Wi-Fi in my studio. But I've started to do, I've done quite a few live stream paintings, and actually they're nothing like doing a real live gig, but they're kind of easier to paint in a way because it's already broken down into a rectangle. So it's not, you're not painting a three-dimensional form and sound and everything that's going on. You're just painting from a rectangle. So it's almost broke down into a pictorial image before you start. So that's been going on. I did quite a lot of abstracts in early lockdown. Also, it was nice for me. I've been so busy for so many years. It was actually nice for me not to be rushing around like a lunatic and to be home more. This lockdown number, whatever it is now doing everyone's brains in. I'm in a very fortunate position. I don't have to homeschool. I've managed to survive financially somehow, and I live with nice people in a nice place, so it's all right. But I think I feel for the whole industry, and more than the musicians necessarily, I feel for all the technical support people and all the venues and so on and so forth, really. Also I did one night at Grow, which was meant to be a 2-night residency on the canal there, an outdoor gig. I didn't know it was going to be outdoors, but we had 2 nights planned, but it was cut down because of tier 4 or whatever. But
we'll get you back, Gina. We'll get you back, don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know about my thinking, Ollie. I don't know what my thinking is. I mean, I'm lucky I've got a lot of skills to my strings to my bow, and I'm as happy or not as happy, but my thing, I would hate to be doing the same thing day in, day out. I could never just go to a studio and paint day in, day out. Like a lot of artists never even sell their work, and I'm not that person. I'm a sociable creature. I love my solace. I love to go to my studio. I love to be on my own. But I also love going to gigs, and I love hanging out. I love the whole crew that, the friends that I've made over the years and the scene, and I love the hang. And I love the movement. I love the challenge. I love to get, when I went to New York, it was really amazing to do that. It was a choice. That was one of my choices. But some of the little festivals that I've been to in Europe, in Austria, festivals that Alan plays at, Ulrichsburg and Nickelsdorf, they're sublime little jewels of festivals that are really serious, and and people welcome me and put me up and feed me and pay me, and it's just like, my God, what is this life? It's like, it's a dream. But I don't need to be doing that all the time. I can stand on a beach and paint a landscape and be as equally excited. So
funny you should mention beaches, because the last question actually is, have you ever done an installation on the beach with flotsam? I bet you have, haven't you?
No, I have made. Oh, actually, my son made a really great. Where is he? Ellis made a really great installation on a beach in Sicily. But I have collected stuff when I'm in Norfolk, where I shall not be named. I've collected beach detritus and made little sculptures out of things that I've found things, and I like doing things like that. I really wanted to show that, but never mind, it's too late. I had a piece of work in the Venice Biennale Fringe last year through Vanya, and that was a small sculptural piece, and it was the first time that I'd made a piece of sculpture for a long time, and it was really great to be able to show it. But that was kind of based on little sculptures that I'd made from my silversmith and metalwork days, making jewellery and making functional hollowware and so on. I have kind of lots of craft skills that I don't really use now, and it was really good to do this piece that couldn't be any bigger than a matchbox, and to make it, to make things, to think about how to make something small and exquisite, and how it joins together and how it fixes, what it looks like from every angle. That's a completely different skill and visual requirement to making something two-dimensional, three-dimensional work. Yeah, I mean, if I had all the time in the world, I'd just, there's not enough hours in the day. I'm also don't want to be a person that just makes, like, I mean, I've got a lifelong body of work, but I maybe don't focus enough on, making a body of work that is like one kind of thing. I mean, artists tend to pick up on one thing out of their work and then work at it forever. I kind of think I haven't done that. I like to chop and change around.
Well, that was fantastic. We've kind of come to the end of the questions, so I would like to say thank you very, very much for doing this, Gina. I mean, when you said I'm going to show hundreds of pictures, I thought it was just the way people talk, but you actually did, and you rattled through them without them feeling, it was actually quite cinematic, which is brilliant. There's a lot of them landscapes, and it was so good to see this other side of your work. And I think everyone will agree that although you are brilliant and known for your brilliant jazz paintings, it is brilliant to see your abstract work and your landscape work, which is obviously of equal value, and all the other projects you've been doing. And I'm sure I can just echo everybody in the Zoom chat just to say thanks, and that was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great raise a glass if you've got one.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you very
Amazing.
much.
Loved
Yeah.
it.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Been a fantastic night out.